Thanks for quitting, Olivia sneered and looked at me. I just silently stared back at her. It's about cutting labor costs. We don't need someone who exploits overtime pay at our company. Jerry seemed pleased too. A week later, I kept getting calls from the company. "Hello," I answered. The president spoke. "Who exactly are you?" I laughed mockingly at his words. "I am Nicole Wallace. I'm 57 years old. I've been working at this company for 35 years, since graduating from college. Our company is staffed with administrative scriveners, social insurance labor consultants, and tax accountants handling clerical work for our clients. This is especially popular with company presidents who run their businesses alone. These presidents are busy with sales and lack the time for clerical work, so our company takes care of it for them. I belong to the tax department. I got my bookkeeping and tax accountant qualifications during my school days, and that's why I joined this company. Now I'm managing 41 clients, which keeps me quite busy. Even though a part-timer handles the accounting entries, it's still overwhelming. But I can't show any weakness. Our clients are all long-term relationships, and many of them have had their fair share of hardships. Seeing them face adversity, I feel I can't lose either. So here I am in front of my computer again today. Lately, I've been troubled. Jerry and Olivia have been harassing me. Jerry, 6 years younger than me, is the head of the tax department. He used to be just a regular colleague, but his attitude changed drastically 5 months ago when he got promoted. He used to speak politely, but suddenly he started talking down to me. "Nicole, what are you doing? You've got some nerves slacking off during work hours." He's always either sarcastic or complaining. I'm looking at documents for tax-saving strategies for our clients. When I talked back, Jerry stayed calm. "Just check the manual for that. Don't do anything unnecessary. And if you end up working overtime, don't expect to get paid for it," he said, glaring at me. Unable to respond, I heard Olivia, Jerry's assistant, say, "Nicole, you should work more efficiently. At this rate, you'll never finish. That's why you're still a regular employee." Olivia laughed mockingly. I was the first to be offered the promotion to department head, but I declined. Becoming the head meant more time for management and less for client interaction. It was an internal offer, so Jerry and Olivia didn't know about it. "I'll make sure to complete my regular duties as well," I managed to say. Still, Jerry and Olivia's harassment continued. "You're increasing overtime again." "What a waste of overtime," Jerry's angry voice echoed today. "Nicole, cut it out. Your constant overtime is dragging down the whole tax department's performance," Olivia sighed. The reason for yesterday's overtime was simple. Jerry had accumulated a month's worth of declaration forms to be filed by the end of the month. After work yesterday, Jerry suddenly said, "Take care of these," and left several client files on my desk. I turned pale when I saw the files. "Wait, these all have deadlines this month, right?" I asked in confusion, but Jerry was already packing up at his desk. "I'm heading out." "Take care," he said, and quickly left the office. "Good luck," Olivia followed Jerry out, laughing mockingly. Unbelievable, I sighed and opened the client files left on my desk. Some of the files were Olivia's responsibility. I sighed even deeper. I knew why Jerry was harassing me. They wanted me to retire quickly. I have more experience and deeper knowledge in taxation than him, so other members of the tax department come to me with their questions instead of Jerry. There are other reasons why everyone avoids Jerry. He looks greasy and unapproachable. The only female employee who stays near him is Olivia. Jerry likes young women. That's probably why he wants me to retire, so the other female employees will rely on him more. It's such shallow thinking. It gives me chills. There's also the fact that he simply doesn't like me. Olivia was harassing me to curry favor with Jerry. Jerry evaluates the performance of the tax department, so she probably wanted to undermine me to get a good evaluation from him anyway. I have to manage these declarations. I have to prepare the tax declarations for my assigned companies, but it looks like I won't finish today's work either. If I try to claim overtime, I'll just get complaints from Jerry and Olivia. So I resigned myself to unpaid overtime. Then one day, I was suddenly called to the president's office. Our company had just had a change of president. The original president's father had been managing the company since it was founded, and he had recently handed it over to his son. The son had always worked at another company and wasn't fully familiar with ours, but he had to take over because his father had suddenly fallen ill. "Excuse me," I said as I entered the president's office. I noticed Jerry and Olivia there, both with unpleasant smirks on their faces. Why are Jerry and the others here? I muttered quietly so no one else could hear. In this tense and strange atmosphere, the president spoke. "Nicole, we'll need you to resign by the end of this month." "Excuse me, what do you mean?" I asked, my mind spinning. "I heard from Jerry and Olivia that you've been overbilling for overtime. Other members of the tax department have only about 16 hours of overtime per month, but Nicole, you're already over 83 hours. Don't you find that odd? Jerry and Olivia have 0 overtime this month. Impressive, right?" The president looked at me sternly. The reason my overtime was so high this month was that I was doing Jerry and Olivia's work. But if I said it was Jerry's instructions, it would seem like my own inability to manage time. So I just stated the facts. I haven't overbilled for overtime. It's because I couldn't finish my work within regular hours, I explained. The president sighed deeply. "I'm doubtful, but there's no evidence, so I won't pursue it further. However, we can't continue to employ someone who works that slowly. So I want you to resign," the president said firmly. Me being told to leave the company I had dedicated my entire 35-year career to. I was tired too. No matter how much more I did beyond my own work, it was never appreciated. Instead, I ended up having to take on Jerry and Olivia's work as well. "Yes, I understand. I'll resign at the end of this month," I replied. I realized I had already said that to the president. I glanced at Jerry and Olivia. They were smiling smugly, looking very pleased. After leaving the president's office with them, Olivia looked at me and said, "Thanks for quitting." Olivia sneered at me. I just silently stared back at her. Jerry also looked down on me the same way. "We're cutting labor costs. We don't need someone who exploits overtime pay at our company," Jerry remarked, seeming pleased. While watching the two of them talk so cheerily, I thought about the handover process and started creating the handover documents for all my clients. Of course, I didn't miss saying goodbye to the people I was handing over to. I tried to get an appointment with the president to say goodbye in person. For the presidents I couldn't meet, I sent letters and informed them of my successor. A week after I resigned, I was relaxing at home. I had been busy with the handover until my resignation and had been extremely busy even before that. A little relaxation shouldn't be a problem. As I was thinking this, my mobile phone rang. When I checked the call, it was from the company. What could they want now? I made sure to take care of the social insurance procedures. I didn't answer the phone, but then the company called several more times. In fact, I had also received several calls from Jerry and Olivia's personal mobile phones. Maybe they thought I'd answer if it was from the company. Reluctantly, I decided to answer. "Hello." "Nicole, it's a mess right now," the president said as soon as I answered. "Who exactly are you?" I laughed mockingly at his words. "Who am I? Just an unemployed lady." I've resigned from the company, and I'm nothing else." Right then, the president spoke urgently. "Since you left, we've had 55 calls to stop transactions with the company. Please come back immediately." The president said his piece and hung up. He must be really panicked. I guess I have no choice. I got up reluctantly and headed to the company. As soon as I arrived, Jerry and Olivia were waiting. Both of their faces were pale, and they had dark circles under their eyes. "What's wrong with both of you?" I asked, surprised at their drastic change in appearance. Jerry glared at me and said, "Since you left, we've been getting calls one after another to stop transactions. Not just from your clients, but from prospective companies we were planning to introduce. What did you do?" Olivia also looked at me with suspicion. I never thought Nicole would do something so underhanded. I'm truly disillusioned. The reason they both looked so haggard was probably due to dealing with the cancellations. I hadn't done anything to the clients, but I had a guess why they were canceling their transactions. "Well, the cancellations might be unavoidable this time," I muttered. Jerry yelled, "So you did do something, didn't you? Get to the president's office now." He then took me to the president's office. "President, I brought her," Jerry declared forcefully as he opened the door. Olivia followed in a hurry. "Oh, I've been waiting," the president said, looking me in the eyes. Jerry accused me like I was the culprit. "It appears that Neil was involved in the cessation of transactions with our clients. We should not only make her responsible, but also sue her for damages," Olivia argued vehemently, though her language was careful in front of the president. The president ignored them and asked, "Why did so many companies stop transactions after you left?" I took a deep breath and answered clearly, "Don't you understand? Our clients don't need us to manage their taxes. There are tax accountant firms that do it cheaper, yet they continued with us because I was here." Jerry snapped at me. "What's with that attitude towards the president? And you think you're worth that much?" Olivia taunted, "There's no way. It has to be Nicole." The president looked serious. "Jerry and Olivia work based on the manual, optimizing operations. But I do more than that. I offer tax-saving strategies tailored to our clients' situations. Uniform responses don't always serve the client's best interests. Many clients preferred my approach and stayed because of it." Jerry got angry. "How can we afford to give such detailed attention to each case? It takes too much time." "That's right. It's inefficient," Olivia strongly agreed. The president sighed deeply and said, "Actually, I just got a call from Dad, the former president. Some of the clients who stopped transactions had gone directly to him to negotiate about Nicole." I was surprised to hear this. I had expected the clients to go that far for me. Dad said that the tax department was viable because of Nicole. She not only managed her clients, but also supported her colleagues' clients, and she has knowledge that Jerry can't match. Dad also said that if Nicole hadn't declined, she would have been in a higher position than a department head by now. The president spoke with a pained expression. "No, no way." Olivia looked shocked. She probably couldn't believe I might have been her boss. The president continued, "I'm really sorry for making you resign. But can we cancel your resignation, Nicole? You're needed at our company." I was honestly happy about the president's changed opinion, but I couldn't accept it. Then Jerry interrupted, "President, what do you mean she's better than me?" I can't accept this. Jerry was visibly upset. Olivia also protested. "Jerry is a wonderful boss who cares for his subordinates, and yet you choose Nicole over him. That's unacceptable." The president looked sternly at them. "Actually, since Nicole resigned, we've been receiving numerous complaints from the tax department. You two seem to have been pushing your work onto others, haven't you?" "What? Why would you say that?" Jerry's face turned pale. The president started speaking with a look of disgust. "I've heard from the employees. Jerry, you've been pushing the preparation of your clients' declaration forms onto your subordinates, haven't you? Including Olivia's work for many clients." Next to Jerry, who was getting paler, Olivia trembled when her name was mentioned. "There was a leak saying you've been pushing your work onto Nicole until she resigned. Jerry, you are calling her a salary thief. It seems the roles are reversed, aren't they?" The president spoke with a sigh. "No, that's not true." Jerry was visibly flustered, unable to come up with an excuse. Observing Jerry and Olivia turning pale together, the president continued, "Also, there was a leak that you two are in a relationship. You are often seen leaving work together. But Jerry, you're married, aren't you?" The president glared at Jerry and Olivia. "I was just mentoring Olivia as her superior, nothing inappropriate." Jerry struggled to find the words when the president produced several receipts. "These are receipts queried by the accounting department. These dining expenses filed by Jerry. Who were they with? Certainly not with clients, right?" Jerry was sweating profusely, unable to speak. Olivia's face turned ghostly pale. "Jerry and Olivia, you've neglected your duty and inflated expense claims. Plus, you're having an affair in the office despite being married, according to company policy. I'm terminating your employment as of today," the president told them calmly and straightforwardly. Jerry and Olivia tried to resist. "Please wait. I'll retract the receipt claims. Just don't fire me." "I have a family." Jerry desperately tried to reverse his firing. Olivia did the same. "Please, I don't want to be fired. I'll apologize to Nicole and the others for dumping work on them." Olivia was on the verge of tears, realizing the severity of being fired for neglecting work and having an affair with a supervisor. She must have been worried about her reputation. "I advised Jerry and Olivia. Why don't you just stop resisting? It's undignified." Jerry glared at me. "Shut up. What would a single person like you understand?" I sighed and said, "Jerry, you were the one who got me fired. It's just karma. What goes around comes around. Why don't you take some responsibility and reflect a bit, damn it?" Jerry looked frustrated. Olivia bit her lip. "I haven't reported this yet, but there's more to Jerry and Olivia's misconduct. Should I share more details?" I asked the president with a smile. Jerry and Olivia's behavior was well known in the tax department. Their stories had reached me, whether I liked it or not. "No, please don't." Nicole stopped. Both were friends frantically trying to stop me. I gave them an ultimatum. Wrongdoings eventually come to light. It would be better for you to face reality before it gets worse. At my words, both of them collapsed to their knees. Ultimately, Jerry and Olivia were fired on the spot. I revealed their misdeeds afterward. These included Jerry faking business trips to go out with Olivia for days and harassing employees they disliked into quitting. They repeatedly reprimanded and pressured employees out of my sight and suddenly assigned work with tight deadlines. The employees who resigned asked me to keep quiet, but now they are happily working at other companies, so I decided it was okay to speak up. The president was furious at my revelation. He expressed his anger about cutting their final salary and also planned to thoroughly investigate past inflated expense claims. Jerry was begging the president, tears in his eyes, "Please don't cut my salary. What will I tell my family if they find out?" Eventually, Jerry and Olivia's affair was exposed to Jerry's wife, and Jerry ended up getting divorced. The two are now facing claims for compensation in the divorce lawsuit. I know this because for some reason, Jerry contacted me. "Please, can you persuade the president to reconsider the firing? Olivia and I are in a real bind now." Apparently, Jerry and Olivia are struggling to find new jobs. The tax industry is somewhat insular. If you commit too many misdeeds, word spreads quickly through the industry's network. That's why no one is willing to hire Jerry and Olivia. They need money for the divorce compensation and living expenses, so now they're working day labor at construction sites. People used to office work suddenly doing hard labor outdoors must be tough. Olivia often calls me, crying. Nickel, please help. I just wanted a raise and a better life. I never really liked Jerry, and this situation is unbearable, Olivia would say, crying. However, Jerry and Olivia's predicament is their own doing. Many people, including myself, have been victims of their actions. So I told Olivia, "This is all your own fault, Olivia. You can't undo what's been done. It will be hard to return to the same path. You're just going to have to deal with the hardships. No way." Olivia cried out in despair. This was the outcome of Olivia's actions. I hope she continues to regret her actions in the future. As for me, I'm still enjoying a relaxed lifestyle away from work. The president has been begging me to return, but I have declined. After being told to resign once, I don't think I'll go back. Sometimes I help out at a friend's tax office to earn a bit of money. Maybe once things settle down, I'll start my own office. In my own office, no one can complain about my working style. I can fully dedicate myself to my clients as a tax accountant. I want to be on equal footing with my clients, not as a teacher, but as part of the service industry. My second life has just begun. I'm looking forward to delving into what I want to do next. Olivia's tears and pleas for help continued to come. Nickel, please help. I just wanted a better life, she would cry. But her words didn't move me. The memory of the stress and harassment I endured because of her and Jerry was still fresh in my mind. Olivia, you made your bed, and now you have to lie in it. I would tell her. You can't expect sympathy when you showed none to others. But it's so hard, Olivia would sob. I never imagined it would turn out like this. Actions have consequences, I replied. You and Jerry brought this on yourselves. You can't go back and undo it. Now you have to face the results of what you've done. Olivia's cries of despair were the echoes of her own choices. It was a harsh lesson, but one she needed to learn. As for me, I found peace in my new routine. Helping out at my friend's tax office was rewarding. I enjoyed the work without the toxic atmosphere Jerry and Olivia had created. The president's requests for me to return became more frequent. Please come back, Nicole, we need you, he would say. I'm sorry, but I can't return, I would reply each time. I appreciate the offer, but I've moved on. Starting my own office became a clearer goal each day. In my own space, I would set the rules. No more dealing with unfair treatment or office politics. I would focus on providing the best service to my clients, building relationships based on trust and respect. In this new chapter of my life, I could finally breathe. I felt lighter, free from the burdens of the past. My days were filled with purpose, and my nights were peaceful, free from the anxiety that had once plagued me. Looking forward, I saw endless possibilities. I could expand my skills, take on new challenges, and build something of my own. My second life was just beginning, and I was excited about the future. No longer weighed down by the negativity of my old job, I could now fully embrace the opportunities ahead as I planned my new business. I remembered the support and trust my clients had shown me. They were the reason I continued in this field. Their belief in my abilities was the foundation of my new venture. With them in mind, I knew I would succeed. My journey had been tough, but it had made me strong. Stronger now, I was ready to turn the page and start a new chapter with renewed energy and a clear vision. I looked forward to what was to come. My past experiences had taught me valuable lessons, and I was eager to apply them in my new role. In the end, Olivia and Jerry's downfall served as a reminder of the importance of integrity and respect in the workplace. Their story was a cautionary tale, one that reinforced my commitment to building a positive and supportive environment in my own office. As I moved forward, I carried with me the knowledge that I could overcome any obstacle. My resilience and determination had brought me this far, and they would continue to guide me in the future. My second life was not just a continuation of the old, but a new beginning full of promise and potential.
You don't need a divorce or any assets, Mark said, zipping his suitcase with a smug finality. Just accept it and move on. His smirk made my blood boil, but I kept my face neutral, watching my husband of 12 years pack up his life like it was nothing more than a weekend getaway. I'm Olivia Barrett, 35, and at this moment, I was watching my marriage unravel in the bedroom we once dreamed in, while his 20-year-old girlfriend waited in a car outside. The same house we built together, the one that was supposed to be our forever. So that's it? I asked, my voice far steadier than I felt. You're just leaving with Amanda and expecting me to stay legally married while you play house with her. He paused, raking a hand through his graying hair he'd started dyeing recently, a detail that now screamed midlife crisis. Look, a divorce would be messy, he said. This way's cleaner. You keep the house. I keep my assets. Everyone's happy. I nearly laughed. Almost. Everyone's happy, I repeated, soft and sharp. Is that what you tell yourself at night to sleep? He gave me that look, tired, irritated, impatient, the one I'd seen more and more over the past year. Don't start with the guilt trips, Olivia. We both knew this was coming. Things haven't been right for a long time. Of course they hadn't been right, not since the late nights at the office where Amanda just happened to intern. Not since the secretive texts, the locked phone, the way he picked apart everything I did, from my job to the clothes I wore. You're right, I said, surprising us both with a calm in my voice. Things haven't been right, but I think the rot started a lot earlier than you realize. He didn't catch it, too busy checking his watch. Amanda was probably getting restless. Young love has no patience. I left enough money in the joint account to cover bills, he added, like a parting gift. I'll handle my stuff from Amanda's place. No legal mess, no drama. It's fair. Fair. I thought of the meetings with my lawyer, the documents tucked away in my home office, the plan I'd crafted while he was busy playing the carefree boyfriend. Mark always did underestimate me. Thought I'd just take whatever scraps he threw my way. A horn honked outside. Amanda's way of hurrying him along. Mark grabbed his suitcase and headed for the door, pausing just long enough to say, Don't make this harder than it needs to be, Olivia. This is the best solution. I followed him to the front door, where the rest of his bags sat waiting. Through the window, I saw Amanda in her red convertible, flawless, checking her makeup in the mirror, oblivious in a way only the young can be. You know what, Mark? I said as he hoisted his bags into her trunk. You're right, this is the best solution. He turned to me, caught off guard. Really? Really, I smiled. Go live your new life. Don't worry about me. He hesitated, unsure. This wasn't the scene he rehearsed in his head. No tears. No begging. Just calm compliance. Good, he said finally. Glad you're being reasonable. As he slid into the passenger seat, I called out, Oh, and Mark, enjoy the next 2 weeks. He frowned. What does that mean? I only smiled and waved as Amanda's car pulled away, disappearing around the corner of our quiet suburban street. Inside, I went straight to my office and opened my laptop. Time to begin. He didn't know I'd been ready for this. I'd seen the signs, and while he was planning his new beginning, I was quietly gathering evidence, every lie, every shady transaction, every late night that didn't add up. I grabbed my phone and sent a single text to my lawyer. He's gone. Time for phase 1. The reply came instantly. Everything's set. Filing Monday morning. I looked around my house. It felt different already. Lighter. Mark thought he'd outmaneuvered me, that he could keep his wealth, his reputation, and still have Amanda on the side, while I quietly stayed tethered to his name. But he forgot who I am. For 12 years, I ran this household, managed our finances, built our life. While he was chasing his second youth, I was preparing for his exit. I picked up a photo from my desk, our wedding day. We were young, glowing, back when his smile still felt real. I flipped it face down and slid it into a drawer. 2 weeks, I whispered. Just 2 weeks until everything changes. My phone buzzed again. Kate? Did he really leave? Yes, just like we thought. Dinner tomorrow, I have stories. I closed my laptop, poured a glass of wine, and stood in the quiet. Mark thought he'd walked away with everything. But the truth, he'd left it all behind. I raised my glass to the silence, to the space he no longer filled. Here's to new beginnings. Exactly 2 weeks after Mark left, my phone rang just as I was finishing my morning coffee. His name flashed across the screen. I answered with measured calm. What do you mean my cards are declined? He barked, skipping any greeting. Panic edged his voice. I just tried to pay for breakfast. Nothing works. Even the ATM says my account is frozen. I took a slow sip of coffee. Oh, that. Yes, I got a notice this morning. The bank flagged some suspicious activity and froze our joint accounts. Standard protocol, really. Standard protocol, he snapped. Fix this, Olivia. Amanda and I have brunch reservations at. I can't, I said, cutting him off. Apparently, the bank noticed some large transfers to an account in Amanda's name. Funds I definitely didn't authorize. They're looking into it as potential fraud. The line went quiet. What did you do? He asked, voice stripped of its usual bravado. Me, I feigned innocence. I just reported unauthorized use of our accounts. Thought maybe your identity had been stolen. Surely you wouldn't use marital funds to bankroll your affair, right? I heard Amanda's voice in the background asking what was wrong, followed by the unmistakable sound of Mark breathing harder. You've probably noticed your credit cards are frozen too. I continued casually. Credit card companies take fraud reports seriously. Very efficient when it comes to locking things down. This is insane, he hissed. I'll just call the bank and say what? I asked sweetly. That you needed the funds to play house with your 20-year-old intern, while still legally married. Best of luck with that. My doorbell rang, right on schedule. Hold on, Mark, I said, not bothering to mute the line. Someone's at the door. I walked to the entryway and opened it. Officer Sanders stood there, crisp uniform and clipboard in hand. Mrs. Barrett, hear about the financial fraud report. I made sure Mark heard me loud and clear. Yes, officer, please come in. I've got all the documentation ready. Olivia? Mark's voice came through the speaker, rattled now. Wait. Who's at the house? What's happening? Just the police, Mark. Standard procedure, remember. He cursed under his breath. Listen, we can talk about this. I'll come over and... Oh, before I forget, I said, stepping back into the living room, you should know I filed for divorce. Your lawyer should have the papers by now, and so does Mr. Peterson. The line went dead silent. Amanda's father, the senior partner at Mark's firm, the man who just promoted him, and the man who now had copies of every bank transfer, every hotel receipt, every charge tied to Amanda and billed to our accounts. You didn't, he said hoarsely. I already did. The home equity withdrawals you made to help Amanda buy her car. Those are of particular interest to the authorities. Officer Sanders took a seat as I wrapped up the call. We'd already gone through the evidence last week. Today was just protocol. Olivia, please, Mark said, voice shaking. We can work this out. I'll sign whatever you want. How generous, I said. Unfortunately, it's not up to you anymore. The investigation is already underway. Oh, and you may want to check your email. I ended the call and turned to Officer Sanders. Shall we get started? He nodded, professionally calm, though I caught the hint of a smile. He'd seen his fair share of these cases and likely enjoyed watching justice served. For the next hour, we reviewed everything. The gift receipts, the unauthorized transfers, the hotel stays, the timeline that lined up just a little too neatly with Mark's late nights at work. It was all there, neatly cataloged. My phone kept buzzing. Please call off the investigation. I'll move back home. We can fix this. Amanda's father is furious. I didn't reply. By lunchtime, the story had made its way through our social circle. Kate called, her voice bubbling with excitement. You should see the chaos at Mark's office, she said. Peterson is livid. Amanda's crying in the parking lot, screaming that Mark lied about being separated. It's a full-blown soap opera. I smiled into my coffee. How dramatic. Kate laughed. So are you actually pressing charges? That depends on Mark, I said. The divorce papers outline his options. Sign and agree to my terms, or I pursue criminal charges. He has 24 hours. A new text came in. I'll sign. Anything. Just stop this. I forwarded it to my lawyer, then leaned back into the silence of my home. My home secured in the divorce agreement, the one asset Mark had tried so hard to protect, now entirely out of his reach. He thought he could rewrite the rules, that he could walk away clean, keep the house, the money, me as a legal safety net, while he played fantasy husband to someone else. What he forgot was that I've always been the one keeping everything together. My phone buzzed once more. Mark signed. Divorce finalized in 90 days. Congratulations. From my lawyer. I smiled, deleted his number, and set my phone down. Sometimes revenge doesn't need drama or destruction. Sometimes it's just showing someone exactly who you became while they were too busy looking away. 6 months after Mark signed the divorce papers, I stood in my new kitchen with a cup of coffee, reading an email from my lawyer. The divorce had been final for 3 months, but I was still seeing the effects of everything Mark had done. The email said, just a quick update. Mark was asked to leave the firm yesterday. Mr. Peterson didn't want someone with bad judgment and ethics as a partner. I closed my laptop, feeling a mix of emotions. Not joy, exactly, just a sense of peace. Life has a way of setting things right. Later that morning, my friend Kate came over, holding a bottle of champagne and grinning. Did you hear the news? She asked as she sat on my new sofa, the first piece of furniture I bought after redecorating. Amanda's engaged. Already? I raised an eyebrow. To someone her age, Kate said, opening the champagne. She says she wants someone more emotionally mature. Her words. We laughed. Mark had thrown away 12 years of marriage for a relationship that didn't even last 2 months. What about Mark? I asked. Last I heard, he's living with his brother. Still job hunting. Not easy when your last boss won't recommend you. I nodded, thinking about how Mark had always been so sure of himself and his job. He never thought everything could fall apart so fast. Do you have any regrets? Kate asked. I paused. Not about reporting his fraud, and not about ending the marriage. Sometimes I feel sad that some of my love changed so much. Or maybe, Kate said gently, he was always that way, and you just didn't see it. She might have been right. There were signs, his little insults, how he ignored my achievements, his need to always be admired. But I had been too loyal to see clearly. My phone buzzed. A text from my neighbor Susan. You won't believe who just drove by your house. I could guess. Mark. 3rd time this week. Should I be worried? No, I replied. He's just realizing what he lost. That afternoon, I walked through my home now. Every room had been redone to match my style. The dark, heavy furniture Mark liked was gone. I'd replaced it with bright, airy pieces that made me feel calm and free. His old office? I'd turned it into a yoga room, a quiet space for me to relax and heal. The walls that once showed off his business awards now held art I'd bought during my travels, something I'd always wanted to do but never did for his sake. The doorbell rang, and for a second, I froze. But it wasn't Mark. It was Sarah from my divorce support group, dropping off materials for our next meeting. I'd started attending the group 3 months ago and now helped other women going through the same pain I once felt. The room's ready for tomorrow's meeting, I told her as I showed her into the old dining room, now a warm and welcoming space for our sessions. You're amazing, Sarah said, looking around. 6 months ago, you were heartbroken. Now you're helping others and doing so well. I smiled, remembering those early days of pain. Sometimes the hardest moments in life help you find your true strength. That evening, I sat on the porch, watching the sunset, when another email from my lawyer came in. Mark had tried to undo the divorce terms, saying I pressured him into signing. The judge said no. I archived the email and didn't respond. Mark's attempts to twist the story didn't matter anymore. He had wanted to keep me legally tied to him while living another life. But in the end, it was his choices that set me free. Then my phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. Mark, I miss you. I made a mistake. Can we talk? I deleted the message and blocked the number. Some stories are better left in the past. I looked out at the garden where spring flowers were starting to bloom. I felt peaceful. The woman Mark left behind no longer existed. In her place was someone stronger, someone who had grown, healed, and built a new life from the ground up. I opened my journal and wrote my last words about Mark. Thank you for underestimating me. You helped me see I should never underestimate myself again. Tomorrow would bring new adventures, new goals, and maybe even new love. But tonight, I sat in the quiet of my new life, smiling. The sun set on another beautiful day, and I didn't look back.